In. All right. Looks like we're about 10 o'clock. Well, thank you, everyone, and welcome. My name is Rainey Tebow. I am a member of the New England Dairy Team. We are a nonprofit funded by dairy farmers that educate the public about dairy farming and dairy nutrition. I am coming to you today from my home in northern Vermont, about 200 miles north of today's dairy farm. And I'm excited to have all of you join us for a farm tour of a beautiful Massachusetts dairy farm. So just a few housekeeping items before we go to the farm live. This tour will be 30 minutes and we will have time for some questions throughout. I know some people are joining us through Zoom, others through YouTube today. In both instances, you are all muted, but if you do have questions throughout the webinar, please type those in the Q&A box on your screen if you're joining through Zoom, or in the comment box if you are with us through YouTube. We will work to get those answered during the tour and at the end. If you feel like it, please include where you're from. Let us know the classroom or the school that you're with, and we will try to give you a nice shout out throughout the tour today. We also want to let you know there are a few polls throughout today's tour. So again, if you are joining us through Zoom, please participate in those. We want to test your knowledge. And if you are joining us through YouTube, drop those answers in the comment box. This webinar is being recorded and will be available on New England Dairy's website. Following the webinar, you will receive an email containing a link to the recording along with an evaluation. So please respond to that. We'd love to know what you think of how we did today. Make sure you check out newenglanddairy.com for some other amazing dairy farm and dairy nutrition information we have there. We've got some great blogs, informational videos. You're able to meet a bunch of other farm families from across New England. So please check that out and stay connected with us on social media at New England Dairy and our farm today, Barstow's Longview Farm. So a quick reminder that this tour is live. We'll do our best to make sure it's as smooth as possible, but bear with us if you see a few small fluctuations in the stream. So before we go live to the farm, I want to take a moment to welcome our host, Massachusetts dairy farmer, Denise Barstow. Denise, thank you so much for welcoming us to your farm today. I know everyone is excited to meet you and your cows and learn more about what it's like to be a dairy farmer in Massachusetts and learn more about how you take care of those cows and our planet. So Denise, I'll turn it over to you to share a little bit about yourself and about the farm.
Yay.
How are you today?
Thanks, Rainey. I'm great. It's a rainy day here on the farm, but it's nice and cozy here in the freestall barn. My name is Denise Barstow. I am part of the 7th generation of the family here at Barstow's Longview Farm in Hadley, Massachusetts. And I work on the farm with my dad, my uncle, and my 3 cousins. So this is a family business. We've been in operation for 214 years, and our motto is looking forward since 1806. So we're always doing all that we can for our herd, for our land, for our community, and for our planet. We have 600 head on the farm, 600 animals, and we're milking about 300 cows. We have Holstein cows, which is the black and white cow that you usually see at a dairy farm because they give the highest volume of milk. We're part of the Cabot Cooperative. So all of the milk that we produce here on this farm goes to make award-winning Cabot products. And we're actually just 15 miles from the West Springfield plant where all of that is processed into healthy, amazing, affordable dairy foods.
Awesome. So Denise, it's raining up here. I heard it might be raining a bit down in your area. So seems like a great day for a virtual farm tour, right?
Yes. If we were here today in person, you might be getting a little bit muddy.
So Denise, we're going to kick things off. And I first want to give some of those shout outs. We've got Miss Carney's 4th grade class with us. We've got a 5th grade class from Fall River. We've got some 4th graders from Hinsdale, New Hampshire. So it's a packed day. Can't say thank you enough to everyone who has tuned in to join us. But Denise, we're going to kick things off with the calves, I believe, right?
Great. Yeah, that's a great place to start.
Yeah. So I think we've got a pre-recorded video we want to show for our viewers here to give them a sense of what it's like to interact with the calves on your farm. So we'll roll that now.
All right, welcome to our calf barn. This is where our calves begin their lives, and this is our nursery. So these girls were born up in the big barn with mom, obviously. and they spend some time with mom. They're about 80 to 100 pounds when they're born, and they can stand up in the first hour. And then mom will go to work, so she'll get milked for the first time. And we're going to make sure that we're putting that milk into a bucket so we can feed it to the calf. So the calf needs her mother's milk, and we want to get that to her as soon as possible because it has all the nutrition that she needs to be healthy and be a good, healthy calf. So then they'll come down here, the calves, and after they have their first meal, they're going to imprint on the farmer with that first meal, and they're also going to imprint on each other. So these are the girls that they're going to spend the rest of their lives growing up with. But we keep them separated at this age because calves are babies. Their immune systems aren't fully developed yet. We want to make sure that they're staying healthy and they're not passing anything from one to another if they have something. And also we can manage their nutrition this way. So they're going to get milk twice per day. They also get water, and we offer them grain. So each calf is getting exactly what she needs to be the most healthy and efficient animal that she can be. And once they get a little bit older, they're going to move into a group. So we can check out those girls over here. So the girls in this group are about a month old, and they're all about the same age. So this is kind of like a classroom, and they're learning how to play nice in a group, getting to know each other. They share a water bowl, they share a food bowl, so they're learning about sharing. And then these girls over here have their name tags in their ears. So they get their ears pierced at this age, about a month and a half old. And this is Lava. Her twin's name is Lassen. So I don't know if you guys have heard of Lassen Lava Fields National Park out in California.
All right, so Denise, we are back live. Some beautiful footage of those really cute calves you have. Before we chat, I think it's a good time to roll our first poll question for all of our viewers. So we'll get that up on your screen if you are joining us through Zoom, but I will read that out loud as well. So true or false, can newborn calves walk the same day that they are born? So we'll give everyone a couple seconds. Please click your answer if you're joining us through Zoom. If you're on YouTube, make sure you let us know an answer in the comment below the video. So we'll give everyone a couple seconds and see what folks think. See if they really were keyed in on what you're saying during your video.
Great.
All right. So we'll see if we can get some results here. We have a pretty high majority selecting true. Calves can walk the same day that they are born. So what do you think about that, Denise? Are they correct?
That's correct. That's great.
We've got some attentive listeners, and that's good stuff. So Denise, we saw some amazing footage of the calves. I think first off, what would you, for all of our viewers, why are the calves so important to you as a dairy farmer? How do they play into sort of the long-term success, as you as a farm business, for you guys as farm business?
Yeah, so those calves are eventually going to grow up and become milking cows up here in this barn. So that's what we would call replacement stock. And all the calves that are born on this farm are raised here. So they're a part of our family from the very beginning. We get to know them, who they are, and then they get to come up here and work. And dairy cows can only give milk if they're a female, and if they've had a calf. So those calves mean that their moms are now up here giving milk and helping us to be dairy farmers.
Mm-hmm. So Denise, we have a couple questions here, one of which from Catherine Phillips. do the calves have names? Do all of your cows have names? You mentioned one calf we saw in the video named after a pretty prominent lava field. How do you guys go about naming some of the cows you have on the farm?
So all of our animals do have names. We have a name the calf contest. So when they're born, we post a picture of them, and we ask people to name them within the parameters of the same letter around the same time that they're born. So right now, S calves are being born, at the beginning of the year, the first 2 weeks of January, we have A calves. Second 2 weeks of January are B, and then it goes all the way through the alphabet, and that helps us to come up with some unique and fun names, but also to identify them quickly, kind of about how old they are if we don't know that when we're up here in the barn.
Yeah. So if our viewers today have some suggestions for some newborn calves, can they drop those in the comments for you?
Absolutely, that'd be great. Make sure they start with S.
Yes.
And we like them to be under 9 letters so they can fit on the tag.
Very cool. So everyone hear that? If you've got a great S potential name for the calves, drop them in, and Denise and the family will give them a shot. So we've got another question here from the 5th graders in Dorchester. They want to know why some of the calves are separated from their moms. Denise, can you talk about what safety or immune building benefits there are to having those calves be separate?
Right. So like I said in the video, the calves' immune systems are still developing. So we want to make sure that they're going to be in a clean, safe area. And we also don't want them hanging around the big cows because the cows are really big. It's a safety concern that, that the calves have their own space to grow and develop, and that they're separated not only from the cows, but from each other so that their immune systems can develop fully. And we can make sure that they're kept clean and getting all the nutrition that they need.
Definitely. So Denise, we see the background behind you. We've got some of the bigger ladies in the barn here. Talk about where we are as we shift to some of the older cows on the farm. Where are we at?
Yeah.
Who are we seeing right now?
So we are in a freestall barn. So the animals in this barn are free to move around as they please within the barn throughout their day. And dairy cows, they spend about 16 hours of their day resting. So you can see a lot of our ladies, especially on this rainy day, are taking advantage of these padded sawdust beds. And they like the outside beds because they can, get the views. We also have breakfast here that's been laid out for our girls this morning, fresh. So this is a mixture of haylage, corn silage, and alfalfa. And it's been fermented in bunker silos, which is like a big pickle jar. So that fermentation process makes it so we can feed our animals year round from the land that we farm, and keep 450 acres of Massachusetts farmland open. And it's also really good for their digestive system because cows are ruminants. So they chew their cud once, and then when they're resting and laying down, they're going to chew it again.
So Denise,
there's more energy that second go around.
Yeah. Chase is wondering why the calves have tags on their ears and what are those for?
Yes, that's for identification when they're in the barns. They also, you'll notice, have collars on, and that's an RFID chip in there so that the robot will identify them as well. We'll check out those milking robots in a bit. But the tags help us view them from far across in the barn, and it displays their mother's number, their number, and their name.
Very cool. So we've got some other questions here, Denise. We see a lot of black and white cows, those being the Holsteins. Do you guys have prominently Holsteins at the farm? Folks are wondering.
Yes, we do have primarily Holstein cows. They just give a high volume of milk, and they actually also give a really high butter fat and protein content as well. And that's important because the quality of the milk that we sell to Cabot Cooperative, it matters that it's quality and that there's a lot of it, so that we can feed our communities the best possible product. So cow comfort is our highest priority here, because every dairy farmer knows that happy, comfortable, healthy cows give high quality milk and more of it.
Yeah. So you talked about the freestyle barn a bit, Denise, and on that note of cow comfort, what other features do you have in the barn to make sure all of these ladies are as happy as possible?
Sure. So we have fans that you can see up here, and they're not going today because it's a bit cooler, but it's been a really hot summer. So the cows have been grateful for these fans to keep them cool. The ideal temperature for a dairy cow is about 45 degrees Fahrenheit. So they like it cool. We also have a sprinkler system that sprays on their backs to keep them cool. In the wintertime, we pull down tarps on the sides of the barn just to keep the winter wind and wet out. But again, cows like it cooler, so we don't worry about them so much in the cold temps. They're also kind of like their own big furnaces, these big cows.
So Adriana over here is wondering how big these cows are. How much do these ladies weigh, or how much can they get up to weigh?
So the average cow weighs probably about 1,400 pounds. So some of our girls are, like 12 to 1,500 in this barn.
We've got another question here. Do the cows sleep in the same beds each day?
They don't have to, but cows are creatures of habit, and they tend to stick to their own routines. So they'll sleep around the same times. They like to sleep in the same beds. You can usually find the same cows in the same spots. So Notorious likes to hang out over here, and here she is on a Tuesday morning.
So I think we're going to talk about this a bit here in a minute, Denise, but folks are seeing the collars that the cows are wearing. Can you give us a little teaser information on that?
Right. So all of our cows are wearing collars that contain an RFID chip in it, and that helps us to identify them when they visit our milking robots. But it's also kind of like a Fitbit for the cow. So we know how much she's moving around, how much she's ruminating or chewing her cud. And that's going to give us information on if our cows are healthy, maybe it's time for them to get pregnant. So we can just gather more data and information on our animals so that we can be better farmers.
Yeah. So you just mentioned chewing their cud. Savannah, who's watching over on YouTube, just asked, why do cows chew their cud?
Right. So cows have a different digestive system than we do. They're what's called a ruminant animal. So they eat their food and then they chew their cud. So they regurgitate it back into their mouth and get that energy that second go around. And farmers know that when they're doing that process, that's when they're really creating milk. So it's important for farmers to give cows the opportunity to have that rest time. And again, rest time for dairy cows is about 14 hours a day, and they're going to only sleep for like 30 minutes. So we need to manage that time for them. And it's easy with technology that we use here on the farm.
Very cool. So before we transition to some of that technology, Denise, some of your cows are outside typically as well, right? I think we have some videos of your cows on pasture. Talk about that balance between inside and outside for your herd.
Yeah, so our girls who are giving milk are going to be in the freestall barns, and then the ones who are pregnant have access to pasture 24/7 because they don't need to go to work. They don't need access to the robot milkers. So those cows are up in a different barn with access to pasture. And just like a deer or a moose, cows get pregnant every year. So they're going to get some of that time each year.
Yeah, we're seeing the video and they look very, very excited to be out on the grass. And I imagine that's the same each year when they get outside.
Yes, yep, that's an exciting time for them. And then, of course, I think the video that's showing is our pasture day event. So that's like a very fun day for them.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the time, they're going to just kind of be out there moseying about.
Yep. Get that first day jitters out of the way.
Right. Yeah. It's
looks
exciting.
like we've changed locations. Where are we at now?
We have. So this is one of our 5 robotic milkers, and this system is milking our cows. This is something that we installed in 2014, and it's a great tool for us because we have all of this data and information on our cows, and our cows are to milk themselves whenever they want to relieve this pressure in their udder. So right now we have PD milking, PD the cow, number 1028. She weighs about 1,600 pounds. So she's standing on a big scale that's telling us that information. PD is going to milk for about 5 minutes and 40 seconds. And she's getting grain dropped in front of her based on the last time that she gave milk. So this cow's getting exactly what she needs in terms of nutrition because of the information that the robot has gathered about the cow. So, so far, PD's given us 12 pounds of milk, which is like 1.5 gallons of milk. Dairy farmers do everything by the pound. And all of PD's milk is going to collect in this container. And it's nice and warm because the body temperature of a dairy cow is 101 degrees.
Wow. So that's pretty warm. How do you guys get that cool enough to eventually have all of us drink that milk?
Yeah, so once all of the milk from this cow is collected in this container, it's gonna go through a series of tubes that on the way will cool that milk, and it'll end up in a big tank that contains all of the milk from the entire herd, and it will cool it down to 38 degrees so that it's going to be food safe and ready for pickup by the Cabot Cooperative, and they'll pick it up in a big refrigerated truck.
Neat. So Deb is wondering why you guys chose robots. Why this piece of technology? Why continue to milk your cows by hand?
So we haven't milked our cows by hand since the 40s. Before the robotic milkers, we were using a milking parlor. So it's a system that kind of looks similar to these teat cups, but we had to hook them up manually. So we needed at least 2 people to be doing that work. And they were usually, just local high school kids. Now everyone who works on the farm is full-time and they have experience with animal handling, and our cows have the opportunity to milk themselves. So they just walk into this robot. The robot arm here comes underneath, it cleans her udder, and then it hooks up to each teat. So no one needs to be here for that to happen. It can happen at 10 in the morning. It can happen at 3 o'clock in the morning. It can happen at midnight. So these cows really decide what they want to do in their day, which means that we have more comfortable cows and happy cows all the time.
Very cool. So some folks are wondering, how long does it take the cows to get used to going into the system and having the robot do its thing?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say it usually takes like 3 visits to the robot before they're really used to it, which isn't a ton. Dairy cows have been bred over generations to kind of be used to being handled. And this system is designed with the cow in mind. So the milking parlor was designed with the people in mind, and how are we going to milk these cows and do it quick so that we can go home and eat dinner. But now this system is made for the cow. So the cow is very comfortable in here. Our entire business model is that the cow likes being in here and that she wants to come back on her own.
Yeah, you just led into our next question. Miss Pan's class is wondering if the cows like to be milked, like to be in with the robot.
They do, yes. They actually like it so much that sometimes we'll get cows that just circle through and try and get milked. And that's because they get the grain, but also because it's just really comfortable for them to be in here. It feels safe, and it's a nice temperature and all of that. So the cows like to get milked. They like to get that pressure out of their body. It's kind of like, if you think about it, like going to the bathroom. So if you've ever been like on a long car ride and you have to go pee and you ask your mom to pull over. What used to happen is we used to say, yo, you have to wait 8 hours, right? Now our cows can just get milked whenever they want. So they always have that freedom, and they really like that.
Mm-hmm. You may have answered this, Denise, but how much does a typical cow produce a day?
Oh, I didn't actually answer that. So a typical cow on this dairy farm is going to give about 9 gallons of milk per day. So some of them are going to give more, some are going to give less, 9 or 10 gallons a day. And they're going to visit this robot 2 or 3 times per day. So they're not giving all of that milk all at once. And I think that's important for people to know. People think that cows are hooked up to these milking machines all the time. It's really about 20 minutes a day, spaced throughout the day. So 2 or 3 times a day, 20 to 30 minutes total.
Yeah. So How do you think the previous generations would react to seeing this amazing technology on the farm? Thinking back, 200 years into the past, when maybe the work was much harder and the technology wasn't up to where it is today. I mean, would they be amazed at seeing something like this, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. My grandfather used to have to milk the cows by hand and then run the milk to the ice room by hand in buckets. So now all of that's automated. This milk is coming into this big glass container and then it's going straight into a tank. So it's never exposed to the air or any pathogens. It's just such a cleaner system, and it's a lot better for the farmer and so much better for the cow. So this is something that I think our ancestors would have been really excited and proud about.
Mhm. Awesome. I think we've got about 5 minutes left, folks. I think we're going to have a little Q&A session here with Denise to end things off. It was amazing
Fabulous.
to see the robotic room here and just this amazing technology. So Denise,
Great.
you're walking over back into the barn. Couple
Yes.
questions for you. When do your cows start milking? When are they old enough to do that?
Yeah, so a cow is going to get pregnant about a year old, and then she's going to have her first baby by around 2 years old. So that's at that age, 2 years old is about when they're going to start giving milk.
Hmm. So we have a fourth grader named Charlie. He is wondering if you live in the barns with the cows. Maybe he's wondering how close to the farm you and your family live.
Ah, that's one thing that's great about living on a dairy farm. And, sometimes you need a little distance from work. And, so maybe not so great about living on a dairy farm, but we all live right here, which is awesome because we have this great community, and we're really close to our animals, so that we're always available for anything that could happen. Make
Mhm.
sure we're giving them the greatest care that we can.
Yeah. So a couple people are also wondering what else you guys might do on the farm. What other things do you offer to the community, Denise?
That's a great question. So we do have a farm stand. It's called Barstow's Dairy Store and Bakery. It's something that we opened up because my cousin Shannon, who today's her birthday, by the way, happy birthday, Shannon. She loves to bake. So we have this bakery, and it's been a great space for us to, preserve some of our family recipes, and also be more engaged with our community and have this ongoing conversation about what local food looks like and the importance of having local dairy farms. We also have an anaerobic digester, and sometimes people call that a methane digester. And what that does is it takes the energy potential out of cow manure and food waste, and it turns it into enough electricity to power 1,600 homes. So we're creating green, renewable electricity for our local community. And that system is also diverting food waste from landfills. And we're getting a fertilizer that's better for our land and our soils, and our crops from that system. And we get free heat. So we're able to heat some parts of the barn for our cows in the wintertime, and we all have free hot showers, which is kind of awesome.
That is very nice. So we have one time, and I missed it earlier. We have another poll question we would like to throw up for all of our viewers. And this one is another true or false question. True or false? Cows can have sawdust beds or bedding. So we'll give everyone a couple seconds to answer that one. If you remember back, Denise talked about their bedding a bit earlier in the tour. And also, if you're on YouTube, make sure you drop an answer in the comments for us. So true or false? Cows can have bedding made of sawdust. We'll see if we can get some results here. We'll pop those up. True. Another great showing from our viewers today.
Nice.
Denise, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, so we bed with sawdust here. A lot of farmers do. And there's lots of other things that farmers can bed with that are clean and safe and comfortable for the cows. Some use sand, some use water beds. There's lots of options. So I think the cool thing about having a lot of dairy farms instead of just a few is that each farm is like its own little science experiment. So we are all achieving this great quality food in different ways. And I think that makes for a more secure food system, and that's really important.
Yeah. As we wrap things up, Denise, as quick as you can, what's the most important thing you hope all of the students take away from the tour today? I mean, why are you so proud to be a dairy farmer here in New England?
I'm really proud to be a dairy farmer because we're creating local food for our local community, but we're also doing so much more than that. We're preserving this way of life and this cultural heritage for New England. We're keeping land open, which is good for clean air and water. It's good for wildlife habitat. It's great to have open space in communities. And we're just really proud to be a part of the dairy community here in New England. And I also wanted to give a quick shout out to the Cabot Agromart Cooperative, who created this super cool patch program. And I do have a patch here. It's gorgeous. Farm Love Patch.
Nice.
So if you guys followed along with this tour, you'll be able to fill out this patch program.
Very cool. Well, Denise, thank you so much for this amazing farm tour today and giving us a glimpse onto how you and the family and the employees take care of the cows in our planet. We have officially hit 10:30. So I learned a lot. I hope everyone else did that tuned in as well. Everyone watching, thank you so much for taking the time to participate today. Denise, anything else you'd like to say to the audience before we sign off?
I just want to say thank you so much for supporting local dairy and for taking the time to learn about my family's farm today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Everyone stay tuned for an email coming to you with a recording of the tour as well as a survey for you to provide some feedback. We'd really like to know how we did today. So make sure you take a couple minutes and fill that out for us. And thanks to everyone who shared the calf name ideas. We got a ton. So plenty for Denise to choose through, to pick through and give to some of their new calves. So make sure you visit our website, newenglanddairy.com, to learn more about dairy farming and dairy nutrition. And make sure you tune in to a couple other virtual farm tours coming up on October 20th and October 27th with Peter Melnick of Barway Farm in Greenfield, Massachusetts. They're geared towards middle and high schoolers, but all ages are welcome. So please stay in touch and please keep drinking your milk. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Hope you have a fantastic day.